Thank you for the opportunity for giving me time to talk to you about my thoughts on future proofing of crops. And it's an important consideration given the changes that we see now in terms of the environments that we sample in the growth of our crops. Now, I'm a breeder and I have a strong focus on physiological adaptation to changing climates. And when I look at the changes over the last 20 to 30 years, we see that there have been significant changes in rainfall and temperature across the Australian wheat belt and more widely across the globe. When you look closely at this change, there is a clear signal, a systematic change that we can select and breed for. But you also see significant variability around this. As a breeder, I find this quite confronting and quite challenging because as a breeder, I require a target. And if that target is highly variable, it means I find it a challenge to focus on what it is and what I should be breeding for and the conditions under which I should be breeding. And this is important because inbreeding cycles can take 10 to 20 years. And so unless there is a clear target from which we can select, we run the risk of identifying new alleles and new traits. But if there's no constant selection pressure or no constant target, we can lose key alleles or run the risk of actually targeting other alleles that don't give us improved adaptation to our future climates. So I tend to think of future proofing around the need for key traits, but these key traits focus on resilience through adaptability. And so risk resilience, giving growers the options of using agronomy and management and a set of genetic tools where they can then play the seasons a little bit better, because we know that playing the seasons will be more important because seasons will be changing from year to year because of that variability and that lack of defined signal into the future. And a good example is rainfall in the Australian wheat belt. And we're seeing now a increase in the delay of the timing of the sowing break for germination and growth. And so we do see some seasons where the rain comes at the required time, but probably 1 in 3, and it'll be increasingly more prevalent into the future. We're seeing less and less rain at sowing and the need to make use of stored water. And for that reason, a trait that I'm targeting in my program is the capacity to put seed deeper into the soil, into stored moisture to ensure germination and growth, and thereby matching growth through the season. Again, it's a trait that gives growers capacity to sow deeper through a longer coleoptile, and we do that through modification of the genetics around height in wheat. But as a trait, it does not provide any cost in seasons where we do have the break at the requisite time. So this is a resilience trait and often married up with a grower's knowledge of starting soil moisture and also the risk of dry sowing and risk of delayed emergence. Another trait I'm quite interested in, again, focuses around that variability, and that is around shorter duration wheats. So typically wheat is sown in May and harvested in December, but sometimes the break or even the stored moisture is inadequate, and is there therefore capacity to sow later. So moving from a crop that would typically grow over 160 to 180 days to a crop of only 100 days. And so for this purpose, we're looking at new genetics built on our understanding of what drives performance in barley and oats and triticale, very vigorous crops. And can we move some of those genetics and those traits into wheat to develop much shorter duration wheats with improved biomass, improved ear size with later sowing, and improved cold tolerance to wet soils. So the challenge for you out there is to understand what it is that your environment will be required of into the future, and understanding now in a breeding sense, there is a period of 20 years from which you can breed. Where are those targets and where are those key alleles, and how will you deliver those key alleles for uptake by breeding programs so that those genetics are contained and selected for into the future and delivered as a key component of new future varieties? Thank you.